Hello, boys and girls. This month we're going to be working on making text connections in reading. This is when you are reading a book and you make a connection to something that happened in the book, to something that happened in your life, something that happened in another book that you've read, or something that's happening in the world around us. This week, we are going to be working on making a text to self connection. What does that mean? Well, it means that you are connecting the story to your own life, experiences, and feelings. That means that when you read a book and you're experiencing what the characters are experiencing, you are able to make a connection to your own life. Did something happen to the character in the book that also happened to you? Did you have the same experience as the character? Did you go on a trip? Did you learn to ride your bike? And also, do you have the same feelings as the character? Are they sad? Did you also experience a time when you were sad? Did they win a race? Did you also do that? The ways to respond and connect to text is using a starter. The first one is that this reminds me of the time. So when you are reading a book and maybe a character went on a trip, this reminds me of the time that I went on a trip also. One of the other responses you can use is I understand how the character feels because. Have you ever been left out? Was the character left out? The setting can also give you a connection. The setting makes me think of, well, is the character at the beach? Maybe the setting makes you think of a time that you were at the beach with your family. And lastly, I experienced this myself when the character learned how to ride their bike. Did you learn how to ride your bike? I'm going to use an example of a book that we have read already. You used the book Cinderella for your fairy tale unit activity, so you should be familiar with the story and the character. So as I was reviewing Cinderella, I was making personal connections myself. In the first column, I chose a piece from the story Cinderella that I made a connection to. When Cinderella goes to the school basketball game, well, she was able to go to the school basketball game, and I made a personal connection to that. In the column next to it, I used my sentence starter. It reminds me of going to Johnson Park's teacher-student basketball game. So I was able to connect Cinderella going to her school basketball game with me going to Johnson Park's basketball game. Now I want to choose another piece from the book. Cinderella takes place in New York City. So now I'm talking about the setting. I was able to make a connection to that. So connecting to it with the arrow in the next box, I typed, the setting reminds me of taking a trip to New York City to see a Broadway show. I've been to New York City. That's a connection I made. The next connection to the book that I made was that Cinderella has a godmother who she hasn't seen in a couple years. Well, I also have family members that maybe live far away, and I haven't seen them in a while either. So I typed, I also have an aunt who lives in Texas, and I haven't seen her in a long time. That's a text to self connection. I connected the book to something in my own life. Finally, I chose that Cinderella was sad when she wasn't able to go to the game with her sisters. I've been sad before too, and for that reason. I felt the same way when I wasn't able to go to the movies with my friends. A couple of friends were going to the movies, and I had another responsibility and I wasn't able to go, so I was sad. So these are connections that I've made between the book and my life. So this is your assignment for the week. You're going to watch the read aloud Wemberly Worried by Kevin Hanks. Then you're going to make 3 text to self connections. You're going to choose a part of the book you made a connection to, just like I did in Cinderella. Then next to it, write your personal connection. You're going to review your responses and share it with your teacher. Once you're done the Wemberly Worried assignment, you get to choose another book. You are going to choose one of the extra read alouds to complete another Making Connections worksheet. and share with your teacher. Both sheets are due by Friday. You get to pick and choose which days work best for you, as long as they're shared with your teacher by the end of the week. So this is an example of the worksheet that you are going to receive. It has the title of the book at the top, a column for the text, and then another column where you see the little girl. That's your personal connections. You're going to write the title of the book on the line next to where it says title of the book. You're going to type it in this time instead of writing it on a paper. Wemberly Worried typed it in. Next, you're going to go to the first column where the book is. That's where you're going to type a part of the book that you connected to. So I typed in Wemberly worried about the tree falling on his house. That's the part of the book that I read, that I made a connection to. In the second column, under the little girl, I wrote my personal connection to it. I also worried about the big tree in my yard falling over during a storm. We had a tree in my yard that was old and started to become brittle, and we were worried that it might fall over during one of the bad thunderstorms. So here's your to-do. First, do your text-to-self response for Wemberly Worried, and then submit it to your teacher. Second, you're going to do a text-to-self response for either Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, or Ira sleeps over. It's your choice. Both links will be sent to you. You get to decide which one you would like to do. You can do this, boys and girls. Remember to reach out to your teacher if you need help. Good luck!